Season 6 gameplay from the PTR. This is what you guys are seeing for Diablo 4. It's also going to be part of the Vessel of Hatred expansion. You will see some of the brand new areas in the gameplay here, especially in some of the content that is kind of zoned. There are different areas that you can go to in the expansion, but those are kind of closed off. If you try to go there, what happens is it'll just kick you. But there are some newer like areas. If you open up some instance areas where you're doing the pit, they have the new content in there. But for starters, this video's main focus is to show off all of the very important new stuff that is in Season 6, that is basically reworking the game. Now, we don't have access to the raids or the Citadel, but we basically have kind of the newer reworked things in the game that are supposed to add a little bit more content as far as the progression, specifically leveling up the glyphs. This is the first thing that I want to talk about. So for starters, the glyphs over here, by the way, this is PTR. Expect to see some sort of bugs and some sort of like weird text like this. You can see missing item power bonus attribute. Like it's obviously something that they're still working on. But one of the most important things is we are consistently farming the pit. We're also on the hardest torment difficulty. By the way, it is no joke. It is way harder right now, especially if you just go in without your glyphs absolutely maxed out in terms of like the radius, because you get an increase in size, and you'll see gameplay of that in just a moment here. But the main thing that I want to go over is the newer changes with the glyphs. This is how you're going to get a lot of power, because at the very beginning, how I felt as well, just like everyone else, is like, dude, what the heck is my damage? They completely destroyed our numbers. However, once you start leveling up the glyphs, you're going to be getting a lot more power, and that is because your glyphs will be leveling up, and you're going to be getting an increased size, and you get 2 more bonuses now. So how it used to work is when we had a glyph, we would then be able to get a bonus once we hit 25 strength, dexterity, or let's say 40 of your character's main stat, which in our case would be dexterity or whatever. So you would get a bonus for that, and then that was kind of it. Now, once you get it up to a certain level, you will also get another legendary bonus. You can see in the goal where it says increase damage to vulnerable targets by 10.2. Now, it's because I've leveled it up a little bit more, but on most of them, guys, it's going to be a 0.2 multiplier on every single additional one that you get, which is usually going to be multiplicative. So we're going to be able to get these in all of the glyphs. Another newer change that is very important, you're only allowed to get 4 additional Paragon boards. So you start off with 1, and then you can only get 4 more, and that's it. This is also, I believe, one of the newer areas that you guys are seeing here. This is going to be obviously in Vessel of Hatred. So there are newer tile sets, but you can't walk into the Season 6 open world right now. But this video is not necessarily going to be a review. It's more so just going over the important changes that you need to be aware of. So basically, you level up a bunch of your glyphs, and that's going to take some time. Now, you also get 100 additional points to actually put in. You can see I have my 5 glyphs because we can only get 4 additional boards, and some of these YOLO nodes, by the way, have changed, so everyone's going to have to pretty much redo most of their builds, because some of these nodes are going to be better and some of them are going to be worse. There are a lot better glyphs, or like the nodes on the Paragon boards are a lot better in general. There were some ones with like potion healing which still kind of exist, but for the most part they are usually a little bit better now. It's going to be a lot harder to cap out on resistances, but you can see over here we have currently 4 boards in, and then we have our starter board, so that's going to be our 5th. So in total we get 4 additional boards, and you cannot put any more in. Now, if you're wondering how do you get the additional Paragon points, you just kind of play. You can see I am level 213. I believe the cap right now is 300. The other thing I want to go over is the skill points. You will get 10 additional skill points. If you load in with a legacy character, you're going to start off at level 50, and then once you get to level 60, then you're going to have all of your Paragon points unlocked. For pretty much you just get 200, and then you're going to get the rest by actually playing the game. But that, I believe, is going to be account bound. So basically, you just need to do it on 1 character, and then you are going to be done. You don't have to do it on every single character. Just if you've played Diablo 3, think of their Paragon point system. You can also see we have additional skill points. 69 is the new number here. And if you are looking to get the new skills, this was kind of a question I had asked. How do you unlock the new skill? Just open up the skill tree. You don't have to do a special quest or anything. We're actually playing with Pen Shot. As far as it goes, I'll give you guys some gameplay of like every single class with the new skill, but I wanted to focus again on, you know, the main part, which is everything that is new. By the way, like Pen Shot is still going to be a little bit better than the new like dancing blades sort of skill here. Another thing that I want to mention, all of your items are going to become useless. All of the legacy items are basically dead. All your 925 stuff is pretty much garbage now. And I say pretty much because there are some things that if you roll like a triple offensive amulet, it still maybe can be used. And I say maybe because it has to be already masterwork to the max, because you can't touch your legacy items. And if your item is not a greater affix, it is actually bad. You can see I'm leveling up the glyphs now. I leveled up 5 of them over here, and it takes a little bit of time. In the very beginning though, sometimes you will level them up and it'll give you more than just 1 per, but if you play Diablo 3, it's just like leveling up the gems. It just takes a really long time, but you will get it eventually. Now there is a chance, if you ever played Diablo 3, as you go higher, you'll have a higher chance in the pit, similar to the greater rifts, to get your stuff to go up. But the main thing I wanted to go ahead and show off with the screenshot here is specifically mentioning that the legacy items that were 925 get re-rolled into another number, which is 540, and all the stats are basically garbage. Like I had a 13% plus to dexterity, and then it rolled to like a 2%. Like it just basically crunches your numbers way lower. So basically all your gear is worthless. I hate this system, but this isn't going to be a rant or review, just going over like the main important changes. So you have to get brand new items. If your item is not greater affix, legendary items, by the way, in Season 6 are going to be worthless unless they are going to be greater affix. And the reason why is you can only put 1 temper roll on it, basically. Even though it has like 6 out of 6 tempers or whatever that you can see, or let's say 5 out of 5, if you do not have a greater affix, it can only go to 4 out of 4, which I'll show you in another screenshot. But 800 is the new item power that you're going to be able to hit. It will always be greater affix with 800 if it drops with a greater affix. So you can see this is a legacy item that has 8 out of 12. This could no longer exist in the game because basically it has 2 temper mods on it. You can see where I have barrage twice and damage per dark shroud. Now if it's not a greater affix, you can only choose one of those. It doesn't like increase one of those further, it's just literally one. That's why greater affixes are absolutely required for the super far endgame. Obviously you can use things as stepping stones, but it is a big change, and it is very important that you take note of that, because if it's not, you cannot go for like the masterworking past rank 4. The next thing is that people were asking about the rune system. It's not even implemented in yet. You can't get the resources required for it. They're adding it later, but it is technically in the game. There are no rune words in the game at the moment. I don't know why they released it like this, but hey, it's how it's released. I'd rather them just have everything kind of there at once. Another thing is that there are brand new gems. Basically, they give you 50% bonus to what you had before. So you can see the difference between a royal, which would normally be like 100, and then now you would be getting additional whatever that you were getting before. It just goes up by like 50%. So that's basically the newer gems. And if you're wondering how do you acquire them, you just get max level and you can use the newer gems here. It will cost you 10 million per, so it's pretty pricey, especially if you want to get multiple gems. Another thing is the Torment difficulty. We are playing on Torment 4 over here. It is going to be much harder. There's also another thing that you need to take note of. So the maximum armor that you can have in the game now is going to be 1,000. However, you get negative 1,000 armor when you go to the max difficulty. The rest of the stuff, yeah, there are, increments of changes, but let's be real here. Most people that are watching a Diablo like video on YouTube, you're going to get to that max difficulty. It's not impossible, but this is very important. Not only is that changed, but the increased legendary, unique, and mythic unique items per torment tier. So you have a higher drop chance for the mythic uniques. I don't know what that exact number is. They haven't revealed that yet, but we do lose out on 1,000 armor, which is pretty dang big, because now a lot of pieces of armor, they have like 50 armor. Like a lot of the stuff has been really reduced here. And then on top of that, our resistances, those numbers haven't changed though, but our resistances, we get another negative 100 resistances. So pretty much for a lot of builds, guys, I'm going to be straight up, you're probably going to be wanting Tyraels, or you can run Rakanos or Yen's Blessing. Those all give resistances. Ideally, you get greater affix on it because, yeah, it's no joke to have res cap in any action RPG, not even just Diablo. But the next thing I want to go over that is actually a really nice change, and this is one of the things that I recommend you guys to do ASAP. If you open up your map, you can right click, you can see where it says, right now it's favorited, but if I click again, it'll say unfavorite. This is one of the best things ever. Ideally, I think Saragar is one of the best spots because that's where the pit is. So Saragar is your area that will have most of the things that you would want, but basically if I ever use my town portal, I will always go right back. By the way, this is the same with uniques. You can see, hold on, this is actually kind of important. So you can see I masterwork this and it can only go to 4. The reason why is it's a non-greater affix. So basically what this means is in the end game, if it's not greater affix, it can never be best in slot because you can only go to 4 out of 12 basically. So again, greater affix is an absolute must, but also favorite Saragart, that's kind of like a must too. Another thing is I'm just showing you guys this, what I was talking about. This is the same with legendaries. Legendaries that are non-greater affix can only roll 4 out of 4 for the masterwork. So you cannot go to 12 anymore unless it's greater affix. And then on top of that, you can see I only have chance for pen shot projectiles to cast twice. Now, normally I would also roll like the offensive, I would throw in like damage per dark shroud. I cannot do that because it's not greater affix. Again, greater affix is an absolute must. Another thing that I wanted to go over is the number crunching applied to some of the uniques, because I was talking about in the video where this got leaked like a couple days ago, and they were showing off all the items, and I'm like, okay, all these things are getting nerfed, but they didn't change some of the stats on some of the items in the leak. However, this is going to apply for all of the numerical stats on like chance for like the arrow storm to cast, or like the poison nova from Andariel's, or if you're looking at like any of the Doombringer, all of those numbers got completely reduced. I believe that what I had originally was like 120,000 when I moused over it. Keep in mind that's going to be different for whatever character's mousing over it, and also you'd have to apply all of your bonuses, but we do get a bunch of glyph changes, because originally how it was going to be set up, if they did not crunch the numbers on a lot of the uniques and all of these other things, those would be 100% best in slot, and it would actually kind of break the game. And I was like, okay, Andariel's is going to be like 100% the best thing. Those all got crunched. Now it's still good, but it's not going to be so broken because a lot of our damage got changed when we look at all like the differences in item power, where everything got reduced to 800, and a lot of the numbers may have actually changed up as well. So you're going to have to kind of check out your items. Again, all of your old items become useless. These were all 925s, so that's kind of important to take note of. But those are all of the really important changes that I wanted to kind of cover in this video. There's also a party finder. That's another thing. I just kind of wrote down some other notes here. If you guys do want to level up, by the way, one of the faster ways to actually level up was actually, if you had a level 50 character, just go to the strongholds. You get basically 1 level per. That was kind of like the easiest way to actually go for it. And then on top of that, if you want to get glyph levels, you go to the pit now. Nightmare dungeons will give you the masterworking materials. So if I want to masterwork my items, normally you go to the pit. By the way, the Infernal Hordes has been deleted. It is not in this version of the game, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would just go there so I can get my materials. And then on top of that, another nicer change was the pet now opens up chests automatically for you in some of the areas that would normally have obols. That was kind of a nicer change. Stygian stones, by the way, are completely gone. And that is... it's like kind of a whatever change. And also, if you are starting out for the first time and you're like, oh, I was able to do tormented bosses. Tormented bosses in World Tier 4 are no joke. They are much, much more challenging until you get your glyphs up. I would really not recommend going to the tormented bosses. If you're like, I want to go farm the mythic uniques, skip out on that until you get your glyphs up. That is going to be your big, big source of DPS. But anyways, that's going to go to wrap up things for basically the newer changes, but I will also give you guys my thoughts and my review of Season 6 so far in a separate video. I just want to go over like the most important changes, but I'm curious to know, what did you guys think so far on the PTR if you've played it or if you watched some gameplay of it? Do you guys like the system, or are there things that you don't like? Because there's definitely things that I think a lot of people will not like, but I'm going to reserve that for the review. Anyways, that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, or if you felt like there was anything that I missed out on that was really important, let me know down below. Keep in mind, we don't have like the new Citadel. I want to show you guys that, but it's not available at the moment, and I'll drop gameplay of that soon. So subscribe if you're new here and you want to see that, as well as my review, which will be coming out very soon. But take care. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.